Naomi, and happy Sabbath, Naomi. I'm so happy that you joined and be able to join us in person again. I do see that you were joining us on Facebook, and we do miss you. You're welcome. May God continue to bless you and help you. Thank you, Sister Jane, for taking such great care of your mom. Thank you for being here, Brother Loretto and Sister Loida. Adore, thank you. And Marlene, thank you for being here. Chris, thank you for always being here on time. And thank you, Elder James. And thank you for your service, Elder Ben. And Sister Kim, that was a great music that you played. So today we're going to learn more about meekness. In the introduction, talk about meekness. Meekness is not something that in our current day and age and our current world and society, it's not something that is one of the highly recognized trait that we adore or that they treasure. So when you apply for a job, or when you try to introduce yourself to someone, or when you're in a business meeting and you're going to speak, and if you're going to be meek, it's not something that they will highly honor you or pay attention to you if you're being meek. In our society today, it's more about arrogance, self-confidence. What is your credentials? So when you apply for a job or when you apply for a position, they want to hear, I did this. I was a captain. I was a chief resident. Or I was the CEO of this company. I did this and this. I did all this, all great. They want to hear your credentials and what you have done in society, rather than you say, God did this for me, or I just do what I'm supposed to do, and then here I am. I just want to apply for the job. And who will they pick? If you apply for a job or apply for a position, who do you think they will pick? Someone who said, I accomplished this and that. I created this huge building. I was the CEO of this company. Or you're rather going to pick someone who said, I'm just a humble person. I'm here for to apply for the position, and I am willing to work and to learn. Who will you pick? Of course, they're going to pick the one who is arrogant, who is self-confident, to pick that person rather than a humble and meek kind of person. So sometimes when we think about meekness, we tend to have a conception that being meek is being weak. Actually, being meek is actually being strong. When you're meek, you're strong, for the meek will inherit the earth, because they put their confidence and they put their credentials in God. So that is why the meek will inherit the earth, because they treasure the earth. They give all the credit, not to themselves, but rather to God and only to God. We studied the book of Ezekiel on our Sunday lesson. And it's very funny because when I was reading the book of Ezekiel, it says that God talked to Ezekiel. And what happened to Ezekiel at that time when God was talking to him in our quarterly lesson on Sunday's lesson? His wife passed away. His wife died. And God told him, I'll wipe away your tears with a stroke. Go ahead and put tires around your head, put shoes, and go to my people and talk. With Ezekiel, his wife being dead, he didn't have time to mourn or to sorrow or to pay honor to his dead wife, but instead he listened to the word of God and gave a proclamation to God's people. When he gave a proclamation to God's people, he said, the church that you honored is going to be put away from you. I'll take away your glory. Your sons will be killed. To tell the people what is going to happen. How do you think the people are going to receive that message? He might think Ezekiel is a liar. God gave us this church, gave us this temple. How will God destroy it? They adore the church that was made. And do you know what was going on at that time? People were worshiping the church and not worshiping God. He said, by the time that you were far away, then you will realize about your iniquities, and then you'll think back. Then you'll turn back and reflect on what happened. It's their iniquity that caused the church, caused the temple, caused God to be angry to take them out from Israel. Sometimes we have this mental and stubbornness within our hearts that God will only behave a certain way. God will never destroy this church. God will never take us to a foreign land. God will never deliver us to the Babylonians. That's far from truth. Because God do whatever he pleases. He's a respecter of no man. Then we move on to our Monday lesson. Our Monday lesson talks about the book of Exodus. In Exodus, when Moses went up to Mount Sinai, he went up to communicate and talk with God, and that is when God, at that time, you remember, God gave Moses the 10 Commandments. You remember that time? That was when God decided to give the 10 Commandments to his people. He wanted to talk with Moses and have spent some time and see what the people will do. And the people grumbled. While Moses was gone to the mount, and the mountain is not that far away, to be honest. There were thunder, there was a thundercloud, there were lightning, there were storms, there was the glory of God. There's no way you could miss it. It was just right there. But the people of Israel talked to Aaron. We do not know what happened to the person named Moses. What happened to him? Go ahead and give us a God. And Aaron said, give me all your gold, your earrings, give it to me. So the people of Israel went ahead and took off their earrings, took off their gold, and gave it to Aaron, who was very close to God and Moses. Aaron knew God. He spoke to the people because Moses said, I have a stuttering. I cannot talk. Don't pick me, pick someone else. God was angry, and God told Moses, who created the mouth and created the tongue? It wasn't me who created the mouth. So when God tells you to do something, do it. Trust in him and have faith. Sometimes we become like Moses, and we say, don't pick me, pick James. Don't pick me, pick Starley instead. Don't pick me, pick Brother Herman. Don't pick me, pick Brother Loretto. Pick somebody else. God was angry with Moses when Moses said, I have a stuttering. I cannot talk. People will not listen to my stuttering tongue. So God told Moses, you have a brother, right? His name is Aaron. He will speak on my behalf. So Aaron spoke for God. And look exactly what Aaron did. Who spoke for God, who took the gold from the Israelites, and he shaped it into a golden calf. He said, tomorrow we will pay a privilege. In the morning, we'll pay honor to that golden calf. He said this, after he shaped it, after he shaped all the gold and everything, and he made it into a golden calf, he pointed to the golden calf. This is your God who took you out of Egypt. Calling a created thing, calling an idol, God who took them out of Egypt. And they worshipped that idol. They paid offerings to that idol. That is just a golden calf. It's just handmade. It did nothing. That golden calf can't speak, can't do anything, and they're worshiping this golden calf. How can someone who knows God, who delivered them from the Pharaoh, took them to all the 10 plagues, and took them to go across the Red Sea with a pillar of water on the wall and another wall of water on both sides so they can cross to the desert, to escape. And after they crossed to the desert, Pharaoh's armies are all drowned and their bodies were all over the place, and they were singing to God because God delivered them. God delivered them. But they still worship and bow down to a golden calf, and stating that this golden calf is what delivered them from Egypt, who took them out, and they were singing. They were being happy. There's one person who's not happy. Remember where Moses was? Moses was with God, face to face, in Mount Sinai. And God told Moses, and it's the way how you pay attention to the word that God spoke to Moses. The people that you took out are sinning. They just make a golden calf and they're worshiping that golden calf. It's very funny. It's because the way how God spoke to Moses, say, it's your people. God say, your people. He didn't say my people anymore. He said, your people are sinning against me, and God told that to Moses. At that time I say, God, you are disowning the Israelites, because it's not Moses' people, it's actually your people. But at that time, he said, Moses, your people who you took out are sinning against me. They just make a golden calf and they're worshiping that golden calf. Do you have a comment, Sister Jane? No? No. So, they were worshiping. So God was complaining to Moses that his people are doing idolatry, not worshiping the true God. Why did God disown them? It's because the people disowned God first. It's not God disowned them first. It's because they disowned God. They call their God the golden calf. Who are we going to call our God? Who is your God? Is your God your credentials? Is your God your money? Is your God your children? Is your God your wife, or is your God your husband? Who is your God? It's a question that we have to ask ourselves. Because I can tell that sometimes we can tell who people's God is by their actions. By your actions, we know who your God is. Because actions speak louder than words. You can say, God, I love you, but you don't come to church. You rather spend time on a TV screen, you rather spend time watching a football game, then who is your God? You say, God, I love you, but you don't pay your tithe to God, return your tithe back to God, you pay the tithe and your money to casinos, to gambling. That's not God. That's not your God. Your God is into money and casinos and your gambling addiction. You say, God, I love you, but you drink alcohol and you get drunk. God said, do not drink any strong drinks. God warned us. God gave us warning about drinking alcohol, doing damage to this temple of our body. Then who is your God? If you say you love God and you do all those other things, worshiping idols, your God is not God. Your God is that idol. Have you ever studied the book of Daniel? When we studied the book of Daniel, remember they built a golden calf. They built a golden calf in the book of Exodus, while King Nebuchadnezzar built a golden image. People were worshiping the golden image. When they worshiping the golden image, then do you know who is their God? It's the golden image. Because they worship, because they bow down to it. It's your actions that shows what your true heart is and what your worshiping is. You look at people's actions. Don't look at people's word. Because people will say, I love you, Herman. Or people will say, I love you, Loretto. I love you, Sister Marlene. Those are words. Then show it. How do you show your love to others? You say, I love you, Jack, but you gossip behind me, behind my back. Do you really love me if you gossip behind my back? No, you don't love me. That's fake words, empty words. It means nothing to God. And God got angry. Yes, you can give the microphone to Brother Loretto. He did.
And this is my question. You know, when God was so angry with the people because they were so rebellious, you know, He said, Moses, I can no longer take these people. They are so rebellious, and I will annihilate them. And through you, I'll make you a great nation. You know what? Moses advised God. Can you imagine? He advised God. Say, Lord, what will the people say in Egypt if you will kill them? Say, advice. My question is, do you think the Lord need advice by Moses? You know, we are the one that needs advice from God. But there, you know, God follow the advice of Moses, right? He follow. My question is, do you think the Lord need our advice or advice by someone? That's my question.
Very good. There's two answers to that. God is all-powerful. God is all-knowing. The honest answer is that God doesn't need any advice from any human beings because He's the Almighty. But I think that He said it to test Moses, just the same way how He decided to test Abraham. Because God told Abraham, go ahead and sacrifice your son Isaac. Do you think God really wants Abraham to sacrifice his son Isaac? He knows that it's hard for Abraham to sacrifice his one and only begotten son and the promised son that God has given to him. Could anybody imagine that God tell Abraham to kill his son? Could you imagine, Brother Loretto, God asked you to sacrifice your son and your only son at Mount Moriah? Will you do it? Will you go ahead and do it? It's a test. God will test us at the time. So God is testing Abraham the same way how He tests Moses, the same way how He will test you in certain kind of situations, to see what is truly in your heart. That is the reason why God took the Israelites to the wilderness, to see what is truly in thy heart. What is truly in your heart? Your heart, whatever that's in your heart, will determine your actions that's coming forth. Whatever that you love will determine your actions. If you love God, it will that your action will show it.